Hello, BookTube. I have a Nonfiction November update. So I've finished all of the books I set myself to read in November. And there's a week left. So first I'm going to talk about the books I've finished. And then I will talk about my plans for the next week. So first, let's talk about A Brief History of the Caribbean by Jan Rogozinski. This is your basic all-purpose introduction to the history of the Caribbean. And it's very workmanlike in its prose. It was a very dull read. There are parts of the story of the histories in this book that are very fascinating and do want me to look into either acquiring myself or checking out from the library. I mean, certain histories that this book touches on. The Golden Age of Piracy, the Haitian Revolution, the history of Haiti in general, Jamaica, that. So, on that score, this served its purpose. Maybe not necessarily the best read, but certainly points the arrow to further histories that I would be interested in reading. So, next, we have Ronald Hutton's The Witch. This is an exhaustive history of the history of witchcraft in primarily Europe, but it does touch upon international international history of witchcraft too. And this book is phenomenal. It is very academic, very dense, and if you're not particularly fond of academic speak, of academic writing, it might not be for you, but there is so much in this book that will be influential on how I think about magic and some of the ideas I'm coming up with for magic systems, and all of that is just fantastic. If you haven't read it and you would be interested, definitely check this out. So that was the last two of the history books the two history books, the first two were biographies. That concludes the 5 books I had set to read for Nonfiction November. Now that they're done, I could select another book and read it over the following week, but I've decided to finish up the 3 most recent National Geographic issues. I'm working on October's issue. I still have November's issue, and I just got today December's issue. So I'll work on them over this weekend, and then starting Monday or sooner, depending how I finish up with the National Geographic issues, I'm going to read some essays. So when I was in college and in grad school, I would go on to the databases that the universities have that store essays or articles and essays from varying sources. Now, for me, as an English Lit major, I tended more obviously towards the literary journals, the journals of literary criticism and theory, and history journals. And so I would, over time, you could download these essays, and I have a pretty good collection, and it's been quite some time since I've read them, so I'm going to finally break down and read a few essays over the final days of November. And I'll specifically make a note to try to focus more on female writers. I pretty much all the 5 books I've read over the course of November so far have been by men, and I'm rather annoyed by that. So I'm going to try to focus more on writing by women over the last week, and then try to get more women writers into my docket for December and into the new year. So anyway, so that is my plan for the last week of Nonfiction November. Thank you, BookTube. Talk to you later.